Evercold has been announced, and there are a lot of sneaky hints scattered about from Fanfest as well as the new 7.5 patch MSQ. I've made a lot of exciting discoveries for you to see, and I really think that you'll find that they are a bit unique. Hopefully the community can piece it together even further after this video, as honestly there really is a lot to uncover. This video will contain major spoilers, so if you aren't caught up with the MSQ as of today, you should probably do that first before watching. Before I get into recent patch spoilers, I want to talk a little bit about the trailer. The trailer itself tells a story. At first, there was a land of plenty. Life flourished here. Rivers fed down mountains and created great seas. Great kingdoms rose. Then arrives the cold, covering the land in a harsh winterscape, making life near impossible. And these giant-like creatures that we see in the trailer simply watched as mankind struggled and died off, forcing them to flee to the skies. Now, here come the spoilers. For a little bit of context, I'm going to be playing a clip from the new patch. In here, Hamarut, a character that was introduced to us in a recent patch, gives us a rundown of the situation. A situation that has been developing with Etheirys, our planet, and all of its shards.
The earth shakes, and mountains spew fire. Floods wash away the fruits of labor, and icy winds freeze and starve. Countless perish as nature runs its course.
She describes the inevitable end of our world as we know it, and a great rebirth of life. Does it not sound a bit familiar? In a private interview, Yoshi P was asked if Evercold was based on Norse mythology. I am paraphrasing a little bit. To which he replied, "Who asked that? You have a keen eye." He also said that if you know pieces of the mythology, you might begin to recognize things. This is a detail that we're trying to hide in the keynote. Okay, so now let's get into the main point of my video. So, what is Evercold, you ask? Well, it's Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods.
Ragnar, I've heard many of your stories, but tell me, what is Ragnarok?
Years of terrible winters, summers of dark sunlight. All hope will be lost. Mankind will fall to depravity. The god of the sea will flood the world. The giant wolf will break from its chains. The fire giant will spread flame across the land. The gods will do battle for a last time, ending in each of their deaths. Finally, the giant wolf will swallow the sun. What I've just briefly described to you is the Old Norse story of Ragnarok, an event that will begin the cycle of destruction and rebirth of our world, giving life a chance to reset. Now doesn't that sound familiar?
And remade for a new beginning. A complete rebirth.
Hold fast to what you must, and meet your fate without fear. Completely on theme for Ragnarok, by the way. The gods ultimately know that they will lose, but they meet their fate without fear. They believed that these events were inevitable, but they practice for it, even today in theory, and will fight it out to the last. On top of all that, the tree that they show in the trailer looks a lot like Yggdrasil, the tree that touches the 9 Norse worlds, similar to our 14 shards in Final Fantasy XIV. The shards, or reflections of our world, are probably heavily inspired by these Norse worlds connected by Yggdrasil, hence why they hid the names of these zones. This type of story of a great reset of life or a passing of a cycle is something that is relatively common in old mythology, from Scandinavia to India to Mesoamerica and so on. Yoshi P and his team seem to be telling a similar story based heavily on Norse mythology for Evercold. Another big thing is that the lady in the trailer calls us the Wanderer. The Wanderer is a reference to none other than Odin. He had this arc of blending in with the mortals, manipulating events, learning information, gathering followers, and ultimately preparing for Ragnarok. So perhaps we'll take on a similar role in Evercold. One interesting thing I wanted to point out is that Yoshi P referred to this as the Godless Realms Saga, So does that mean Ragnarok happened already? Are we dealing with the aftermath of the gods killing each other? We don't know. Also, the big frost giants that we see in the trailer could be a part of this great sundering, either literally like the frost giants from Norse mythology, or maybe they could be a representation of the gods of this new shard that we're going to visit. Square Enix has also been saying that this will be the kickoff event to the grand new story that will span the next 10 years of Final Fantasy XIV. So perhaps, I don't know, we'll be traveling to each of these shards in the future expansions and do something huge to prevent this great sundering of our worlds, or maybe it's just going to be specific to Evercold, we don't know. Of course, all of this story has its own Final Fantasy specific flair. It's different, but it's also similar enough to capture the spirit of the mythology, and I think, honestly, that's just a fucking cool theme to go with. You can hardly go wrong with Norse mythology and aesthetics. A good chunk of my favorite games are with that theme. It's just, I don't know, so cozy. I mean, just imagine being surrounded by a snowy landscape, the wind passing through your beard, dressed in leather and fur, axe in hand, as you look over the fjords and northern lights. It's just the classic. I'm really excited for this theme. There's a lot they could do with it, and it's certainly a good choice and an easy win for the game's narrative going forward. And maybe the future's not even Norse specific. Remember how I said that it's a common theme in old mythology? Maybe the next expansion after Evercold will have that same end of the world theme, but a different perspective from a different ending story similar to Ragnarok. Honestly, there's just so much they could run with, even with just a single mythology. They could explore the gods more, the different planes of existence, and of course the awesome warlike society, which may or may not give us some hints towards the new job. We'll know more in the future, of course, but I think just knowing this much already is a bit more than what Yoshi P might have intended. There are a lot of little details that help bolster this theory, such as a picture of Yggdrasil, or the Threads of Fate, which is a very common thing that we see throughout the trailer, which is a very Norse thing, by the way. There were a few references to the Twilights of the Gods. There's just so much, and I'll be probably making more videos about different things I find in the near future. This is all early knowledge, keep in mind. I don't want to go too far off the deep end in speculation. Thank you guys so much for sticking it out to the end. It's been a very long time since I've made a video. I've tried to get back in the swing of things. It was a little bit rough, but anyway, let me know what you guys think about the video, as well as all this mythology stuff, since there's really a whole lot, and I probably missed something. In fact, as soon as I upload this, I know I'm going to forget something, and I'm going to be so upset. So, let me know, and maybe I will talk about it in the future. See you.